I'm here with Ken and Pat Potter. Can you guys tell us a little bit about your background?
I was born in Matamata, and then when I was in Standard 1, Mum and Dad bought a farm in Pyro, and we moved over there. I went through to high school, fourth form in high school at Pyro, and then I worked for Dad for 3 years. After which I left home for the first time, and I moved down to Shannon to be with my uncle and cousin down there at the nylon plant that was operating in Shannon. And the reason why I went down there is because I was learning to fly at the time, and the money that they were making down there was 3 times as much as what I was getting at home. So it was, it just so happened that Pat used to work at the nylon plant too, and the two of us got together down there.
Well, actually, I come from a little town called Shannon, and I was from a family of 16, and it was 7 of each. Quite a big family that I came from, that's for sure. And yeah, I'm number 14. My dad, I didn't really know him that well because I was a year old when he died. And that, yeah, I didn't know him, but I did know my stepdad because, you know, a few years later, my mum got married again. Went to school at Shannon, used to spend quite a lot of our time at the marae whenever we could. We'd walk out there. It was quite a few k's away in that, and we had to go across the Manawatu River, of course, but we didn't walk across the bridge, we swam across there. We didn't realise our danger of that sort of thing then, but yeah, I guess that's what we do when you're kids.
And you have good memories of your time on the marae, Pat?
I do have very good memories of my time on the marae. And even some of our nannies used to tell us stories there. And that was one thing that I used to love sitting down and listening to, was some of the stories that they used to tell us and that out there. So, yes, my memories of Tautu are very good.
I had 2 children in Shannon, and then we moved up to Pyro, and got day jobs there for a while until I moved into the dairy factory, and I stayed in the dairy processing industry for 39 years in total. We came back up this way to Cambridge in 1986.
How old was the family then when you came here in 86?
We left our eldest sons back in Palmerston when we moved to Cambridge in 86 because the eldest boy was in a job, well, they were both working, yeah, and they wanted to stay there, so we left them behind and brought the 2 younger ones up with us.
How many grandkids do you have?
5.
5 of them.
Hey.
Yeah.
We have 5 great-grandchildren too.
Hey, Pat, can you tell us a little bit more about your cultural background?
I have to say that even though I was brought up in a big family, that it was pretty hard for my mum looking after so many children. And so mum ended up adopting out 2 of my brothers and one of my brothers and one of my sisters. Or whāngai, I should say, not adopted, whāngai out, which is sort of the same thing, but in a Māori way. But it wasn't that she wanted to whāngai them out, it was because a lot of the whānau around us used to feel sorry for her because she'd be everywhere with these babies, you know, and things like that. I think you can imagine what it's like when you've got little children that you have to run around after, and so many of them that they used to offer to take, you know, some of my brothers and sisters and look after them just to give her a break. Mum never ever taught us Māori because when she was younger, she was one of them that was, you know, like it was trashed out of her. They weren't allowed to speak Māori in school. And they used to get the strap whenever they did. So that just put Mum off. So, of course, she never ever taught us how to speak Māori. And, you know, to learn it now, which we have been going to classes, to do our classes with Vinnie and Chris Simmons. And they're great. I've got to admit that they were great. I knew a few of the basics before, but we've picked up quite a bit more now. I really did want to go back and learn how to speak Māori. And I have to admit that the first day I heard Luke Goodwin speaking Māori up on stage, I was so impressed. And I thought, wow, if Luke can do it, then I must be able to do it too. And so, yeah, sort of gave me the incentive to go back and learn a bit more. So,
Ken, do you want to tell a little bit about journeying alongside Pat?
When I met Pat and started going out with her and what have you, culturally things were different. But I loved it. It was neat. Their togetherness, the way they just get along with each other, you know, it was really, really neat, eh? And I enjoyed it. I still do. Yeah.
it was my family too,
Yeah.
my whānau as well, Jeremy. They dearly loved Ken, you know, so yeah.
It's good I could fix things.
How did you guys come to know the Lord?
Mum used to go to church. We used to have church at the Marae once a month. And the reason why we had it once a month was because we could only get the pastor to come from Otaki over there once a month. So that's the reason why we had church there. But Mum always made us go, you know. But when we were younger, Mum did make us also go to Sunday school. So we used to go to Sunday school until it closed and that. But then, of course, yes, coming to the Lord, after that I sort of went away from Christianity. And, you know, it was always there on my mind, but it just, you know how life goes, you just move on and you do your own thing and things like that. And so that's what happened to me. But then when I got sick in 2008 and discovered that I was going into hospital for an operation, I had a x-ray and they found a spot on my lung. So I was a year or so getting that organised and going through all these tests like you do for this cancer drug and things like that, because they found that they couldn't let that go, so they had to sort that out before they could do my first operation I was going in for. So yeah, so I went through this cancer thing, and it was a bit of a rough time. You know, it was really bad, and I think that's when I realised that I do need to ask the Lord to help me, because I was pretty bad. I went right down to 51 kgs, and I could barely walk around, you know, because all the operations and whatever that I'd had, and chemo and radiation and stuff like that. I was quite hard on one's body in that side. And that's when I came to the Lord, came back again.
Although Dad was basically an atheist, right through his life, and I don't know why. His mum was an avid Methodist churchgoer, and we used to go to Sunday school and church with her when we went to holidays in New Plymouth at Christmas time. So that was good. We used to go to Sunday school at Pyro, to the Methodist church and what have you. And any christenings and that, all our kids were christened. And there was 7 of us kids in my family. I'm the eldest now. Mum had a baby before me, but she died soon after birth. When I left school, I was attending Bible class at the time, and they wanted to do a time change as to when they did the Bible class, and it conflicted with me working on the farm. I only had 1 day off a week, and they wanted to do Bible class during my day off. So I asked for a change, and they couldn't do it, so I ended up pulling out of Bible class. And basically pulling away from the church, putting it on hold, as it were. And it wasn't until Pat's cancer trip that the both of us were looking. We started to look in the wrong direction, according to our next door neighbours, our lovely next door neighbours. You may know who they are. And they could see the activity going on over here and were very, very concerned. So they came and put us straight and told us, down here is where you got to go, not with them. So anyway, that was another reason why we started going to Raleigh Street. Yeah. I've since been baptised at church, and that was a good day. And excuse me, it was life that did the baptism with me.
You guys, how many years have you been married?
On the 13th of July, we were married 52 years.
Congratulations.
Hmm.
Okay, what's a piece of advice to people who are not as far along the journey as you guys are?
Kōrero.
Aye.
You need to talk. You know, it's all about talking.
Communication.
Yes. Communication is, I think, to me, is the very basis of a good marriage and things like that. You've got to be able to sit down and talk and not run away from it, you know.